22 years back, the institute's vision was so high that might be 22 years later, the technology is going to take over and we should not be left behind. This is where we have actually moved towards over a period of time. People have gained the certificate that is knowledge, but now the wisdom to apply that knowledge is on the corners, and I 100%, I'm pretty confident that every chartered accountant is actually going to take this step forward and ensure that not only IT means income tax, IT means information technology, which is actually supporting the entire ecosystem of tax, governance, audit, accounting, and everything when you talk about with regards to the numbers across the board. And we are going to be relevant all throughout.
When AI is there, I was very much worried, and I was also very happy that such a big conference, what to speak and what not to speak. And I was thinking on this dais that whether my avatar can help me out in this situation. And friends, this is the testimony, this is the future. Whatever you are doing in your life, in your practice, in your job, all will be hit by AI. And for the 2 days, you have to note down what you are doing and what AI can do for you. With these words, thanks to all of you and happy learning. Thank you.
Great round of applause for our Central Council member, C. Rajendra Kumar P. And I request sir to please come on stage to extend the opening remarks for our first session, which is AI in Chartered Accountancy, Transformation, Adoption, Opportunities and Challenges. Can we once again have a great round of applause, please?
Very good morning to all of you. It is a proud privilege to stand before this esteemed audience. This morning, I was called by my another GST friend, Umesh Sharma, and he informed me that sir, this is what you have to do this morning, and it's by 10 a.m. I did rush, and here I am before you. Now, I was thinking why this date, 16th, was chosen. 16th. Why was this chosen? In fact, 16 is a very nice number. 16 has a very great significance in numerology. 16 has a very great significance in astrology. And 16 has a very great significance in spirituality also. In fact, this conference which D1S1 Sharma has weaved today, on this date 16, I must tell you, the first conference of the AI in ICAI, the mega conference which is being organized today. And we have here with us eminent personalities who are going to share their thoughts and guide us. In fact, it is artificial intelligence organized by council members like D1S1 Sharma, Umesh Sharma. We also have CA Rajkumar Adukia, who are basically intellectuals. So someone asked me, sir, can artificial intelligence take over everything that is human? So my reply was, we are intellectuals. And nothing can replace intellectualism, it can only assist us. So it is that assisted intelligence which is going to happen, or which is happening, which already happened also. On this particular date, July the 16th, I come from Tamil Nadu. My place is Chennai. whenever a wedding happens, there's one blessing which is given by elders. பதினாறும் பெற்று பெருவாழ்வு வாழ்க. You must get all 16 pleasures of life. You must get all 16 best in life that is there. And that is what we are going to offer you today on the 16, everything which is the best. Popularly, someone calls me as a GST man and so on and so forth. I don't know how much GST now I know. So many things have happened. But let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, Umesh Sharma told me, sir, you have to speak as to how tax is, someone is speaking there, how tax impact is going to happen. In fact, we have here with us today Ms. Rekha Talluri, a visionary leader from Microsoft, a person who has seen all this from close quarters. She is going to bring us here her wealth of knowledge, experience, the command that she has over this subject, and the deeper understanding that she has will, I think, bring a transformative exposure amongst us. In fact, when I started my practice, we used to write the GST returns, rather service tax, excise duty and all those. Today we don't do that. We just key into the computers and leave it at that. In fact, there are people today who reply to notices, letters of department using the AI tools. Someone asked me, sir, how is it that, do I have 2 minutes time? No, I don't have time. Thank you. This is artificial intelligence. Preventing intelligence doesn't matter. In fact, I'll just close in a minute. So, no show cause notices can be replied purely by using AI tools unless and until there is a human intervention. The correct version of the reply has to be seen by some person. We have tried it, and let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, anything that can replace a human can only be created by a human. And what we have done in AI today, and what is happening in the world of AI, I must tell you, ladies and gentlemen, something which is going to transform the thinking, the thought process of each and every one of us. Something which is going to ensure that we as human beings, we as intellectuals are going to give to this world something fair, something which is beneficial, and something which is truly of advantage to each and every one of the person born in this world. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for your address. And without taking any further time, we would all be diving right into a session, and I would take the opportunity to invite our first session speaker on stage. Can we give a great round of applause for Ms. Rekha Talluri? She is the CFO of India and South Asia at Microsoft. Ma'am, I request you to come on stage. Our next speaker, we have with us Mr. Ankit Giria, who's the Senior Finance Manager at Microsoft. And I also invite CA Naresh Chandrageli to please come on stage. He's a Regional Council Member, SIRC. I request him to please come on stage and welcome our speakers with a planter. Can we give a great round of applause, please?
Thank you. You need the clicker and you need to set up. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
I request, sir, to kindly present the planter to our speaker, Ms. Rekha Talluri.
Oh. Thank you. Thank you.
I now request, sir, to kindly also welcome and present the planter to our next speaker, Mr. Ankit Giria. Check. I would also like to remind all of you that through that QR group that I told you to join, the WhatsApp community group, the feedback forms have now been shared. The 5 questions for the survey are now available in the WhatsApp group. You are requested to fill those before our session concludes so that your
Many of the
response could
forms
also be
getting launched,
discussed
the
with our
questions.
speakers. With that, can we now once again give a great round of applause for Ms. Rekha Taluri.
Okay. So, clicker. Okay. Good morning. How is everybody doing today? Good. It's fantastic to be in Hyderabad. You know, I'm really great. It's wonderful to see the audience and the interest. Daya and team have been telling that there's almost people coming from 26 different states, and there are some registrants all the way from Dubai as well. It's wonderful to be with you all today and to talk about this topic, right? You know, it's been 18 plus months probably since we started talking about generative AI. And the amount of progress that we have been making ever since has been humongous, right? What we are learning is multiplying every probably month or less than a month. Every day we are discovering a lot of things and the potential in terms of what we can do with AI. Now, as I was coming in here yesterday, I've actually was building this picture. I asked AI to give me a picture of Hyderabad. And then, you know, it has pulled this picture. We're living in a world where AI is going to lead the next era, right? And if you think about it, you know, every technological advancement that happened, it has only helped us create, you know, increase and multiply the GDP growth. And if you see this graph, for almost so many years, you know, every time, you know, when the steam engine was invented, it has helped us multiply the GDP growth. And so has, you know, subsequent events that have happened, right? And if you think about what has been the technological advancements that happened, it started with PC, and the personal computer has changed what we could do and how we could operate in this world. The next big technological shift that has happened was also the invention of internet, where it has brought the world together much, much closer. Today, what's available in the different part of hemisphere is readily available to us thanks to the internet, right? And then came the mobile and the cloud world. And now today, where we are, AI is the next big paradigm shift that we are seeing. And this is where we're expecting it's going to continue to help us in advancing the GDP across the world, right? And let's think about, you know, what is that it will do from an India perspective. We have a goal to get to a $5 trillion economy, and with AI, the expectation is it will contribute at least 10% of that 5 trillion. So in the next couple of years, what we are expecting is AI would contribute almost 500 billion in terms of economy, Indian GDP. So this is what we are expecting to happen. And now the question is, how do we ensure, like, you know, we are not left behind? And for the first time, India is at almost the same level playing ground as any other country, right? When the PC was invented or when internet came into picture, not all of us have come into that, the bandwagon at the same time. But today, we have the same level playing ground, not just us, but every economy has almost like the same level playing ground as where the US would have been or other developed nations are. And this is our moment of opportunity in terms of how do we go and capture the potential of AI, right? And it's very heartening to see what ICAI has been doing in order to get chartered accountancy and the professions ahead of the game in this journey. Now, let's understand, is AI actually new or has this been in existence? And what's the difference between a traditional AI model and a generative AI model, right? A traditional AI model, and in fact, in the next slide, I would talk about like when we started using AI. But a traditional AI model, which has been in existence for a couple of decades now, it's very narrow, simple, it's built for a single purpose. And it would do that one single purpose, right? The conversation that all of us are having today is about generative AI. It is a multi-purpose model, and you think about it as like, electricity that can fire up a lot of different things. And that's what generative AI is today. And this is where it's massive. It can have like, multiple different applications, and it will bring in the intelligence and natural language and natural user interface that humans could have as well, right? With some limitations. And we'll talk about that as we go through some of the things. But that's the difference that we're talking about. As much as traditional AI has been there for, many years now, this is the shift and the journey that all of us have been going through, right? If artificial intelligence has been in existence since 1950s, right? And from there, machine learning, including, some of you might have been privy, and those who have been working in corporates have been using machine learning and some of the advancements from artificial intelligence for a couple of years now to do forecasting, to do predictive and prescriptive analytics for a couple of years now, right? But the benefit that we are getting in the last few years is coming from the generative AI. Now, let's understand, what the broad framework with which, we can use AI, right? Number one thing, it will enrich experiences of human beings to make us more productive. And this could be you as professionals, it could be professionals who are working in the industries as well, right? How do we make sure like, it's helping us be more productive, and also make sure like, it's helping us concentrate on high value added tasks as well. The second part of it is when you're engaging with your customers, it could be a corporation, or for those of you who are in practice, it could be how do you engage better, and how do you make sure like, you're also reinventing your employee and customer experience. For us, it could be as end users of some of the experiences that we get from other companies, or for you as you are serving your own clientele, right? How do we reinvent the customer engagements? Then there is a third part of it, like, automating the processes. And this is something that, most of you probably are seeing in your day-to-day life or experiencing this one. Reshaping the business processes, making sure like, the transactional element of it, how we can automate or simplify or leveraging the technology part of it. And then the last one is also bending the curve on innovation. What could have taken sometimes, years and decades, we are able to do it in a much shorter time frame, and it is helping us, whether it is the research, skimming through a lot of things, and you will see a couple of examples during the next, few presentations where we are able to bend the innovation curve. And, whether generative AI or not, if there is one thing COVID has taught, the speeding up of how quickly we were able to get to markets also, right? It's possible today through collaboration, but AI is actually going to take it to the next level. Sorry, I think there's some issue with clicker. Can you go back? Okay. Now, as finance professionals, and some of you sitting there, could be doing coming from practices. Now, we might be thinking, where does the opportunity sit for us from a finance perspective? The answer to that is it's across the broad spectrum of where we all operate, right? Every single area, if you think about it, whether it is recording the transactions, reporting your financial statements, or from quote to cash, as well as, tax and treasury, and in fact, even from a compliance audit perspective, every single line of things that we are operating, there's an opportunity for us to drive and leverage AI across the board. And in fact, when Ankit is going to show you some of the demos, you will see how each one of you can leverage this across. Now, but to get there, what's important is going to be data, right? Making sure that, we have the right data, because otherwise, with anything with technology, garbage in, garbage out. It's important that we have the right standards. It's important that we're securing the data, because as much as, technology has helped us accelerate a lot of things, it's also important that we are securing the environment in which we are leveraging the technology. So data security is going to be very important, and most importantly, privacy of the data, making sure that the elements of privacy are also met, right? So that becomes very important. So as each one of you start thinking about any kind of AI tools, making sure that the data foundation is right is super important. And making sure that foundation is also secured becomes very, very important. Now, there's also a concept of what are some of the challenges that we are seeing from AI perspective. We have also seen implications in terms of, some of the ethical dilemmas that, many organizations and everybody is going through, right? And we have also seen many governments come up with saying that, hey, this is the framework with which we want organizations to operate from an AI perspective. It's important that when a new technology comes into picture, that we are also have the responsibility to make sure that we're addressing the challenges that come with it. And this is where the whole framework of responsible AI comes. Some of you might be auditing organizations which have implemented AI. How do we make sure we have a governance framework in those companies so that we are not exposing ourselves to any kind of risks and all? Which is where I think it's important that as we start thinking about AI and the tools for implementations, very important that each one of us are also thinking, what are the implications, how do I make sure, we're protecting the information, and also making sure the tools are actually, being responsible towards our customers, to our employees, and towards everything, right? The implications. And what we have seen in the past few months is, almost couple of months since AI is almost 90% of the organizations across countries, they have encountered some kind of ethical issues, which is where super important that as you start thinking about AI, responsible AI, and making sure that framework is there, and most importantly, how do we leverage? And for those of you in practice, the organizations for which you are auditing, are they implementing these responsible frameworks? And do they have a governance committee? All of those questions become very, very important. I want to share with you, the approach that we are taking internally from a Microsoft perspective, right? Whatever tools and applications that we are building, is it adhering to some of these principles? Is it fair to the audience or whomever is using? The privacy, we talked about security and inclusiveness. All of that, there are certain principles that we are following internally, and every organization is also going through similar set of frameworks, and they do have governance bodies that they have established, right? So that's something that I want each one of you to think through as you start looking at your own AI implementations, or most importantly for your clients when they are implementing, making sure that they are taking some of these frameworks into consideration as they implement. I do want to leave one last thing, I know the gentleman before me, he mentioned that, as much as AI is there, it is not going to take humans away. Humans continue to be in the driver's seat. AI will only be a co-pilot, right? And this is where I want, if we can roll that video. It clearly shows that, we will be empowered, but technology can never replace us. I don't know if there is. The sound is not there, I think. Before we get into the demos, we'll just show a 2-minute video in terms of, how the co-pilot is going to be. AI will always be is your co-pilot, but you are in the driver's seat. With that, I think we'll go over a few demos just to inspire each one of us to see what is the art of possible with AI in the finance profession. Ankit, over to you.
Hello. Hi, everyone. So it's very nice to be here, and thank you, Rekha, for sharing with us how AI has evolved over a period of time and giving us a framework that how chartered accountants or in finance, we can use AI. Going ahead, what we will see is we'll delve one level deeper and see how practically AI will be helping us in our day-to-day life. So broadly speaking, what AI does is right now is one, it summarizes information. So if you have a meeting going on, it gives you all the minutes of the meeting in one place, the action items and all. It generates content. So if you have to prepare a presentation, if you have to reply to a tax notice, it will prepare content for you. Third is about data analysis, doing forecasting or anything for that matter. And second, and lastly, it also simplifies process a lot. So this is the first demo which I have for you. So in our daily life, correct, how we can use in our day-to-day work AI. So over here, if you see, what I have done is, so we have, all of us have some to-dos, correct? Every morning we think what we have to do. So you can So what over here AI does, I have given a simple prompt. Go through all my emails, team messages, channel messages, and generate all the to-dos which might be there, and also enlist the action items which I have to take from there. So if you see here, so what Copilot does is that it goes through the entire data set which I have access to, and it generates all the to-do list across all the places where the information is available and gives me this listing. Along with that, it also gives me references that, okay, if you click at this number 1, it will open that Teams message or that chat. So if you see, we can see all those references. This is a second example that you have missed perhaps a meeting in the morning, and you now want to catch up what has happened. You don't have to now wait for the minutes of the meeting to come in. So once you go to that recap section, AI has already generated all the meeting notes. You can also go ahead and give specific prompts. Okay, recap this meeting for me. It will give you the entire recap. Also, you can give some other prompts to it, like list the action items for me. So it will list out all the action items and also mention the person against whom this action item is listed against. You can give some basic prompts on your own also. It is not that everything has to be listed. So over here, what I do is I give it a prompt that tell me where my name was mentioned and what was the action item which was talked about for me, correct? I was not there in the meeting, but maybe my name was taken in that meeting. So I do that, and then let's see what Copilot says. So what it will do is, it will go through the entire transcript of the meeting and see wherever my name was mentioned, and also take into account the action item against that, and it will share the output. This is the third thing, like in all of our lives, we have seen there are long emails with long trails, like running into pages, and if you have to go through this entire email, it might take good 10 to 15 minutes. Now, it is no longer required. If you just click summarize the email for me, Copilot will summarize it within 2 seconds, and you can go through that entire email, which was 15 minutes, which would have taken you 15 minutes to read, in only 5 minutes. Along with that, you can also reply. You can just give a simple one-line description what you want the reply to be. With that simple instruction, it will look at all the previous emails which are there in that trail, and it will generate a reply for you. You can feel free to now edit this, or you can keep it as is, and then you can send it out. So now let's go into stuff which are technical, correct? Which are very related to us. How can AI help us in matters of tax, in matters of other things? So we will take one by one all the different aspects. The first aspect which we are taking here is tax. So with tax and treasury, so it can help us in cash forecasting, it can help us in tax return review, like doing various reconciliations and all. It can help us in bank account reconciliation. It can help us in doing research based on certain laws or case studies, and also reply to notices. So we'll go through one such demo. So before getting into it, Prati, if you can just pause this. Yeah, so let us first understand the background of this problem statement. So this problem statement which we are trying to tackle is, so there is a software company which sells software services basis a contract or an agreement, correct? And that agreement can run into multiple years. So what happens is, so though the billing has happened, say, in April or 2024, the contract is for 2 years. So what the company does is, so it recognizes the revenue in 2 years separately, though the invoice has been raised at the time of billing at April 2024 itself. So what the tax authorities is contesting, that you pay me tax upfront at the time of raising the invoice, whereas the company is paying tax in the year it is recognizing revenue. So if you see, so this is, what I have done over here, I have given this prompt to the Copilot, telling it that please think yourself as a practicing accountant and you have very deep knowledge about tax and accounting, correct? So I have given this prompt to it, and now Copilot is saying, okay, I have taken that into consideration, now go ahead and ask your questions. The first question that I ask is, give me, how does accounting standard or Ind AS 115 states about revenue recognition regarding continuous service arrangement? It gives me this entire, so it gives me this entire thing and tells that what does Ind AS 115 says, and also how it is related to this company ABC. Second, I ask that, okay, how is Income Tax Act stating about taxable income? So it gives me an answer related to that also. And also it, in the last para, if you see, it gives how it is related to this particular problem. Again, I go ahead and ask that what is in ICTS 4 stating about recognition of continuous service arrangements. It speaks about that also, what is ICDS 4 stating about this and how it is related to this particular problem statement. Now, having all this background with us, now what I say, Copilot, okay, take into consideration all this information which you have given me right now, go ahead and write a response to the tax authorities. So what it does, okay, before that, I also asked Copilot to give me certain judicial precedents for similar cases. So it gives me judicial precedents also and what was briefly the judgment about. And then I tell Copilot, take all these things into consideration and form a response which can be sent to the tax authorities. So what it does is, it beautifully takes into consideration all those aspects, and then it is forming the response. Please note that it might be that it is not exactly what you expect, but it gives you a very good foray into how you can go about. You can build on this, you can edit this and all, but it gives you a tremendous head start into how you can go about this thing. The second pillar which we'll see now is about investor relations, correct? So Copilot also can help you in your investor relation stuff. It can help you in preparing pre-earning commentary. You can ask Copilot that what all questions the company can expect from the analysts. It can help you prepare with mock questions. It can help you with earning summaries and all these things. Peer analysis on. So again, I have a simple example over here. So what I ask Copilot in this is go through, what I ask Copilot over here is go through all my messages and emails and bring out where all Microsoft earning related stuff was mentioned, correct? So you can go through the messages, team messages, you can go through my emails and all, and then tell me where all Microsoft annual report or earnings related inputs were given. So it goes through all these things, and then it lists out that, okay, these are the places or these are the documents which are available with you, which is related to Microsoft earnings. Imagine, otherwise you would have to go search into various SharePoints, various shared folders, your desktop and everywhere yourself. Now, Copilot does that for you. AI does that for you everywhere. Now, what I want is to compare, okay, Microsoft, how it has done in Q1 of a particular year versus the last quarter. So again, I give a simple prompt to the Copilot, go ahead and compare. I've given it a prompt, and I have given reference to 2 documents for it to go ahead and compare. So it is now going ahead and comparing both the documents, and it will beautifully again list out what all are the differences between the results of both the quarters. You can ask it to do it in a particular format also. I have not given a format. You can ask to give this Copilot to give this output in a particular format, in a tabular format, and all those things. All those things are possible. Now, going ahead, imagine that you have an earning call, correct? Earnings call can be as much as 1 hour, 30 minutes, 2 hours, 3 hours long. You imagine that you have to go through this entire call to understand how the company is doing, what is the CEO or CFO is saying about it. Versus you just give a simple prompt, give me a brief summary of the entire video through Copilot. I've just given this prompt to it and it's given me the brief summary. And also I asked, okay, give me the outlook for Q4. You would have seen I've made a spelling mistake. Instead of outlook, I've mentioned something else. But it still reads that what is the most logical word which should have been used there and gives me an output against that. Moving to the next pillar, that is O2C or quote to cash or order to cash. In this thing also, it helps us a lot. So what it does is it can help you if there is any query raised by the customer, helping answering to them, creating a summary of all the queries, doing cash forecasting, doing minimizing late payments and all. So all these things are various stuff where Copilot can come or AI can come handy for you. So let's go through this demo. So this is Microsoft Dynamics, and Microsoft Dynamics also has been now enabled with Copilot. In the bottom side, what you see is all the various queries and all which has come from the customer stating one or the other problems, correct? So I have just picked up one of the queries which has been raised, and see just follow the cursor. There are so many emails and communication which has already happened with the customer regarding a payment or something. So what I do is, I don't want to go through this entire communication, correct? It would take me 15, 20, or even an hour to go through it. What I say is, simply give me a case summary. I just click on that, and it has given me a quick case summary, what has been the entire discussion till now. Once I have done that, now I have to go ahead and reply to the customer, correct? So I go to now the Copilot, so create a new email, and we can do some of these things which is mentioned here. You can go ahead and call them, you can write an empathetic email with a feedback and all, or else you can just generate it with some simple prompt. So what I do is, I just give a very simple prompt that, okay, basis this prompt, please go ahead and generate a reply to the customer. So what it will do is, it will go through the prompt, it will go through the case history, which it has just summarized, and basis taking into consideration all these things, it will generate a reply. And it is also giving a reference, okay, this reply has been given basis this policy document, taking into reference. And this entire, if you see such a long email with the policy reference and all, it has just generated within matter of seconds, whereas you would have spent good amount of time writing this email out yourself. And now you can just keep it as it is. If you want, you can make simple edits and then go ahead and send it to the customer. The next pillar which we will take up right now is record to report. Over here also there are a lot of things which AI can do. Right now we are using AI to automate journal entries, to taking out some anomalies in journal entries, to do contract reviews, to do invoice approvals, and all these things which we are taking help of. So over here again a quick demo which is there. So if you see, this is how we are doing contract analysis, correct? So this particular bot which is there is linked to the database where all our contracts and everything is kept. So what I do is, I go ahead and give a simple prompt, okay? To refer to this, I ask this bot to go ahead, which is utilizing AI, to go ahead and give an answer related to what are the services which are delivered in reference to this contract. It will find that contract and read that contract and is giving me the answer. The next question which I might ask is there an accessibility clause which is mentioned in the contract, correct? So it will again go through the contract and it will give the answer. Contracts can be very, very long, correct? It can run into hundreds of pages also. So it will take you a lot of time to read through it, and find that specific location where you want that information. But Copilot can do this for you within seconds. Even you can go ahead and ask to summarize the entire contract into, say, a page-long commentary, and it will do the same for you. So over here, what I've just stated is summarize the contract for me, so it is doing. Not only these things, what it can do is once you link it with the database, okay, where all your quotations and everything has come, it can go through all that database for a particular kind of service. It can find you the best possible quotation. It can give you the reasoning also that why that quotation is best, and all those things can happen. Just moving ahead, how can Copilot come into play for procure to pay, correct? So it can help you, as I just said, in supplier research. It can help you in invoice payment, invoice approvals, and many such things. So very quick example over here is, for invoice approvals, we have now started using AI. So this is an example how we are using traditional AI in our invoice approvals. Whenever an invoice comes, so we have already defined certain matrices basis which AI will go ahead and check the invoice, certain parameters, and does a risk scoring basis those parameters. And if the risk is low, it will go ahead and automatically approve the invoice. And if it is the risk parameters are not met, or risk is medium to high, then it will go to the approval. The workflow will take the invoice to the approval up to the approver for approval. That is traditional AI. Now, Gen AI can also come and play its part. So I'm just sharing with you a snapshot of a chart which is happening over here. So what is happening is, okay, the approval has got this invoice, and he has, say, hundreds of invoices. So the approver goes ahead and asks that, okay, tell me, what out of all these invoices, which are the invoices which are most risk prone? It will give you that, okay, these are the invoices which are most risk prone, and then then the approver can ask, okay, go ahead and check it against the contract, go ahead and check it against that, whether the terms is matching, where do you think the risk is, and it will give you all the answers, and then you can take a decision basis that. Imagine versus a scenario what we are doing right now, that going into SAP or something, checking out the PO, what the PO is saying, opening the agreement, what the agreement is saying, and then approving the invoice. The next one is about planning and analysis, that how it can help us in doing planning and analysis. Machine learning was there, even this can now help us. I'll just quickly take you through this example. That again, what we have done is we have made a custom Copilot, and it is linked to a particular database. And you can have entire data in one place, correct? And what we go ahead and do is we ask Copilot, okay, tell me about the revenue of these 3 countries. The data can be unstructured. It's not needed that it has to be structured. If the data is true and it is correct, it will go through that data, and it will go ahead and pick up those revenue, what was there for these countries for these years. Basis this natural language, is just preparing the SQL itself. You don't have to write that SQL. You do not need to know the SQL, how to write an SQL. It will go through the data and prepare that SQL and write it. You can also ask, okay, basis this data, tell me, versus 22 and 23, what is the difference of growth? It will calculate that, and it will give you. You can ask it that, okay, go ahead and forecast for me the next year or next to next year revenue. It will go ahead and forecast for you. And you can ask also that, what is the basis of your forecasting? It will tell you, okay, I have forecasted basis linear methodology. You can say, okay, do not do it by linear methodology, do it by some other methodology. It will do it for you. And one other thing with Gen AI also is that you can use your local language also. What over here you will see is we are giving this prompt. It will just come up that we are also giving prompt in, say, Hindi language. With that Hindi language also, it will read the prompt and it will create an SQL based on that Hindi instruction or prompt and give an answer back to you. The last topic which I'll just catch up on is about risk management and compliance. Over here, it can help you if there's a new law which has come, it can help you in doing entire research related to that. It can help you in doing certain policy checks about your internal organization, whether, say for instance, you have a T&E expense which is being claimed, whether it is accordance to that policy and all these things which can be done from a perspective of risk management and compliance. A very quick example over here is that we created a bot again, and we trained it on all the TNA related policies which are there within our organization. So now what happens is, now for any employee per se, they do not need to go and ask or search in the SharePoint or ask the HR about, okay, what is permissible and what is not permissible from a TNA perspective. It can just go into that Copilot bot and give a prompt. Okay, for instance, over here, if you see, I'm traveling to Munich from Hamburg next Monday starting 6 a.m. and return Wednesday at 9 p.m. What is my per diem? So it's not only that it will pick up the information from the policy, it will also do the background calculation. Okay, the person is going for 1 day, it is going for 2 days, then how much is the per diem which he's eligible for, and what is the total amount which he's eligible for. It will do all these things. Second, in the second snapshot, if you see, we have also created a matrix or a workflow that once anyone submits or once the employee submits this claim, it will do a policy check. The AI will do the policy check against each of these claims and do a risk analysis whether or not this is okay. If it is all good, it will go ahead and automatically approve. If the risk scoring is high, then only it will go ahead and ask for some manual approvals. And with that, I'll give this a pause. Thank you so much. I think we have also shared with you certain questions over a form. I think if we can bring up those questions and answers.
Can we have a great round of applause for both our speakers for such an enlightening session on the transformation, adoption, opportunities, and challenges of AI in Chartered Accountancy course. Now, as I had told you that we were conducting a survey, we had 5 questions for all of you that all of you were supposed to respond, and I think we received more than 130 responses. And now I'd request our audiovisual team to kindly bring the question and the responses on the bigger screen. And I would be requesting.
I have to tell, last night Ankit and I were discussing these questions and we asked Copilot to generate the questions. So whatever questions you have answered have been generated by Copilot. We still have only 126 and I believe there's more than that, 10 times more audience than 126 in this stadium. We have to refresh. Do we have to refresh?
So as you can see, this is the response that we've gotten. Our speakers are here. They can just say, let us know if they agree, disagree, and what it is that they feel with what our audience feel about this particular question. So you may also have the mic. I can use the
Thank you.
Okay. I think it's still capturing some of the ideas and inputs from each one of you, but if you look at the questions, the first one is, where do you think is the most significant change AI can bring to accounting professions? The number one thing that stands out there is automating routine tasks, right? I think at any given point of time, what's important is as you start thinking about automation or some of these activities, important for us to re-engineer the process and make sure the process is right before we start implementing any technological solution. Then the second thing that stands out there is enhanced data analytics. And you have seen some of the things that Ankit has shown. And most importantly, we are both from Microsoft, and I'm happy to share that there's a Copilot for finance that is coming our way very soon, in a few months, so which you would actually see, it helps you analyze, including a lot of work that is being done from an FP&A perspective and all, right? As much as a lot of you are from the practicing, from the practice, you could also use it as you start looking at, analyzing the customer financial statements and all of that. So that's Let's go to the second question. The second question, how do you rate current level of AI adoption in your accounting practice or firm? Partially adopted, planning to adopt, right? And hopefully by the end of these 2 days, you all walk away inspired, thinking about AI and how AI is going to enhance your own firm's productivity, and most importantly, as you engage with your customers, what are certain other areas you can help engage with your customers as well. So a lot of you still in that mindset of like, we are getting there, right? And to get there, let's look at the third question. Which area of accounting do you believe AI has most significant opportunities? Okay. Financial reporting, number one, audit, tax and compliance, I think it's spread across, all the spectrums. And today, I think in the next 2 days, I was just looking at the agenda. There's a lot of different topics that you will see, and you will get inspired. The next topic immediately after us is GST compliance and how AI is going to help enable. So hopefully by the end of these 2 days, you will see how you can leverage across all the 4 spectrums that the chartered accountants can participate, right? The fourth one, what's the biggest challenge? It's good to see, skills gap in workforce stand out and not any other things, right? And that is something that we all can work on. Each of us are at different stages in terms of tech savviness, but kudos to the ICAI team members. They have been very on the forefront in terms of how do we make sure that the chartered accountancy profession is ahead in the curve, and there's a lot of things, all these things that we're doing in the next 2 days, and most importantly, there are certain set of things that will be lined up to see how we make our profession a lot more tech savvy. So the last one, do you believe AI will ultimately enhance or reduce the value of human accountant? Yes, human accountant. It's mostly greatly influenced, but I'm glad that, we're all thinking AI is actually going to be our co-pilot and not, going to replace any of us, right? It's super important. It's only going to help you go from good to great, because now the starting point with AI is it's going to provide that common platform where we don't need to start from scratch, right? You have seen actually some of the examples that Ankit has shown. The basic work is already done. Now you need to see how you can actually help enhance, even when it comes to creativity and all. You have seen some of the pictures and all. It's going to be iterations after that. Everyone has this level playing ground that is being provided by AI, and it will help us enhance and focus on more value-added work, right? But it's never going to replace humans. With that, I think we end the session, and thank you very much. And if there are any questions, Ankit and I will be here through the day, so feel free to ask.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Can we once again give a great round of applause to our speakers? I would like to invite on stage CA Deepak Ladda, who's the past chairman of the Hyderabad branch of SIRC of ICAI, to please come on stage and present the memento to our speakers. First, we would like to present a memento to Ms. Rekha Taluri. Once again, a great round of applause, please. And now, I request Sir to kindly present the memento to Mr. Ankit Ghedia. I would like to once again thank the both of you for sharing your expertise and knowledge with all of us and making our first session of AIS 2024 such an interesting and enlightening one. Thank you so much, sir.